Hey guys, it's Kaz here, aka Cats and Camera, and today it's not even that cold, but you know, just getting into the feeling of this video. Today I'm going to be going through a few wintry books. Now personally, I don't actually do this whole seasonal readings shebang, but I do own some books that are set in cold times or sound cold, and that's what this video is about. So I'm going to be going through 10 books. Most of them I've read, a few of them I haven't, but maybe you'll get some wintry recommendations. Side note, look how cool my scarf is, it's massive. I literally can't get it in frame. So yeah, let's just get into it. First of all, I have The Year of Ice by Brian Malloy. This is a contemporary. It follows our main character who is kind of dealing with his family. He lost his mum in a car accident and his dad's a little bit crappy. There's a whole potential affair that might have happened while his mum was still alive, and he's also dealing with sexuality. So there's a lot going on, and this takes place over a year, as you may be able to tell by the title. Next up we have not a Game of Thrones, but the series A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. And I'm sure if you've read this or seen the TV series, you will know that obviously there's a lot of politics and fighting and all sorts of shiz going on, but also there's that undertone, winter is coming, and with it some crazy ass weird shiz is gonna go down. White walkers, evil wee beasties coming from the north, it's all there, and it's because of winter. Next is one that doesn't actually take place in winter as such, but it does have that vibe, and that is Into the Wild by Jon Krakauer. This is a non-fiction book about Chris McCandless, who kind of left his life and went off into the wilderness, and 2 years later somebody found his body. And I've put this in here because he goes to Alaska, which is pretty cold, and there's some snow going on and wilderness. So even though it doesn't technically take place in winter, he hitchhiked to Alaska in April and his body was found in August, so it's like literally not winter, but it does have some of those vibes going on. Next up, another series, and that is the Shira series by Maggie Stiefvater. This is a paranormal romance type series about werewolves. They're not really werewolves, they're people that turn into wolves, but the way they turn into wolves is based on temperature. So if it gets too cold, they turn into wolves, which I thought was a really cool sort of twist on the whole trope of werewolves or people turning into wolves. I just thought it was really cool, and I enjoyed the fact that they had to keep trying to stay warm and not go out into the cold because that would turn into little wolveses. Next up is one of 3 books on here that I haven't actually read yet, and that is Last Winter's Snow by Hans M. Hershey. And I know that this is about the Sami people in Scandinavia, and they live in sort of the northern parts, which is always sort of pretty cold there. There's snow, there's reindeer, you know, winter. And this follows a couple of characters over several decades where they're trying to deal with discrimination, with LGBT sort of politics in the Sami culture and in their countries in general, and it sounds really good, so definitely need to read this soon. Next I have a graphic novel, and that is 30 Days of Night. You may have seen the film of this, it came out many moons ago, but basically this is set in Alaska over the period where it's just dark for weeks or months on end, and it's cold, and then vampires happen because there's no sun. Yep. And everything about this, even the art style in here, is very much a cold, wintry vibe. Next up, another one I haven't read and another non-fiction, and that is Nansen by Roland Huntford. This is all about Fridtjof Nansen, who was a Norwegian traveller, expeditioner dude, and this is all about his life, part of which happened to be expeditions to the North Pole. Very cold indeed. But along with that, this book follows later on in his life and probably earlier in his life as well. Next I have A Strong and Sudden Thor by R.W. Day. This is sort of a sci-fi, futuristic, but also it doesn't feel futuristic, it feels more back in the day type of book. Basically, some sort of ice age happened, and 100 years later this book is set, and there's dragons, yep. And there's also a gay romance in here. It's kind of a dystopian where it feels like it's set in the past, but it's set in the future because everyone's sort of political feelings have gone back in time. Like, oh, the polar happened because of gays, so therefore it's bad type of business. So yeah, pretty darn interesting. Next, the last of the 3 that I haven't read yet, another non-fiction and another expedition book. You're sensing a theme, aren't you? And that is The Expedition by Bia Uzma. Again, this follows an expedition to the North Pole, and it's sort of like a mystery type of thing. This team was found 33 years later and they had enough food and shelter and ammo to have survived, so it's like, why didn't they survive? And yeah, very much looking forward to reading this. It sounds really interesting. And last but not least, I have Supermassive by Nina Rossing, and this follows Ing, an 18-year-old that goes back to live with his grandma in Norway because loads of crazy shit has happened. 4 years ago he lost his mum, and within that past 4 years his dad's been pretty absent, so he goes back to Norway. There's a boy there that he likes, that he kissed before he left 4 years ago, and he don't know how to feel about him, and it's about him coming to terms with his mum and his life. And yeah, there's a scene in here where he's just laid in the snow looking up at the Northern Lights, and it's so beautiful. It makes me want to see them even more. I loved it, so definitely recommend. So yeah, there we go. Those were 10 books and series that have sort of wintry or cold themes about them. Hopefully there's at least one thing there that you've never heard of and seems interesting. So yeah, let me know down below if any of these do sound interesting, or if you've read any of them, let me know your thoughts. Or just tell me a book that you think is quite wintry and has cold vibes. Let me know. If this is your first video by me and you enjoy it, then please check out some of my others. And if you continue to enjoy them, then please subscribe, that'd be awesome. Anyway guys, I will see you in a few days with another video. Bye.